Hello. So this is going to be the second part of this week's kind of video thing I was telling you about with Cricket's birth story and just how I got into kind of the backstory of why I'm gluten-free, sugar-free, the whole nine yards. So anyhow, kind of got into a little bit with you yesterday in that video, but today I wanted to talk about just kind of my symptoms that we never were able to get diagnosed, that I feel like we were constantly going to the doctor. Again, we live in Texas, so it was like, is it out? Because I would have these sneezing fits, and it was like, okay, it's got to be allergies. So, I feel like I was always taking Dimetapp or Benadryl or just something. But I guess it really kind of started, I would say, when I was like 3 years old. When I was three, we did not live in Texas yet, but my family is Hispanic, and so lots of Mexican food. I love enchiladas. However, they make me violently ill. And so, I just kind of chalked that up to it's just something that I can't eat. It's just something that does not agree with my stomach. Little did we know, it kind of came down to the tortillas. And if you guys ever read, and I talk about this a lot on my blog, if you read ingredients, unless you're like really making your spice mixes, there's so much crap that is just filler, and a lot of it has wheat in it. I cannot even tell you, I really didn't read labels until I was diagnosed with celiac, and really I feel like it was more so when I was pregnant, because they do say that when you have celiac, if you have gluten, it can cause miscarriages. And in my case, I did have several miscarriages, and that's kind of what we've really chalked it up to, because otherwise, besides these things, I'm very healthy. Even my doctors are like, your numbers are just so great. So anyhow, so I'd say like that kind of stuff really started when I was about 3 years old, and then I was diagnosed with scoliosis. For those of you that don't know, I'm sure most of you do if you're in the United States, because they test for it, I want to say in 5th or 6th grade, and that's when I was diagnosed with it. I want to say if your curvature is over 50 degrees, they say that you need to have surgery, and I think mine was like 78. And at that time of my life, I had not started my period yet. And so because of that, they wanted to go through, when they were going to do the surgery, they wanted to go through the front and take my ribs, my bottom rib, to fuse with my spine. And it was a lot, because I want to say I was like maybe 11. And it was a lot. I had just made cheerleader, like, all of those really important things in your life when you're in 6th grade and you're a girl. And I was a dancer. I did competitive dancing. So, there were just a lot. They were basically like I felt like telling me everything that I love, everything that I hold dear, all of my activities are done. Like, I am just not going to be able to do this anymore, because my curvature was so bad. And I had 3 curves, so it was kind of like a weird S. But my spine was twisted, so they needed to go in and untwist it, and then they would put a rod on both sides of my spine and straighten it out. So my fusion, I guess just because of the way, how big it was, how bad it was, is from my neck to just above my tailbone. And so I remember talking to my parents, and I was like, I don't want the surgery. Like, I just don't. And so we tried everything. These like therapeutic braces that they would fill with air, and like the pressure was, they would fill it with air on like different, I don't know, months or whatnot. We bought these like crazy machines that you would hang upside down, and they were like supposed to straighten your spine. We tried everything. I was going to a chiropractor like every other day. We did this it felt like forever. I don't think, now looking back, I don't think that it was forever. But it just, I wanted to go to ballet. I wanted to do all of my things. I didn't want to go to the chiropractor. And I remember finally looking at my parents and saying, I want the surgery now. Like, I don't want to keep doing this. I can't keep doing this. This is not fun. Let's just have the surgery and be done with it and move on. And so the one great thing about this is I hated my surgeon. When I originally went, my surgery was done at Texas Scottish Rite, which is supposed to be like a great scoliosis surgery. It's where my pediatrician, like everybody was like, you have to go there. And so I could not stand him. He had horrible bedside manner, gave me the willies, I did not like him. And so I want to say it was like a year later when we went back, and I was so blessed that I was able to it was actually their chief of surgery, amazing man, a great bedside manner. He ended up doing the surgery, and I could not have been more pleased. I was in the hospital, I believe, for a week, and then, you have to relearn how to get out of bed. You use your back for practically everything. And so I never had to go through physical therapy, but you do have to kind of retrain your body how to do things. And especially in the middle of the night, if you would lay down too long, kind of like with anybody, if you've had a surgery, your muscles tighten up. And so, my mom, bless her soul, she would go on these, it'd be midnight, it'd be 2 a.m. We'd go on these walks around our neighborhood just to kind of loosen up my muscles. And thank goodness we had it done during the summer, so it wasn't like we were going out there in the snow or the ice. But after I had that surgery, I had the most excruciating pain in my shoulder. And it was under my shoulder blade. And I watched a lot of soap operas, I'm not gonna lie, when I was in middle school, in the summertime, because that's all that was on. And I was convinced they left something in my body under my shoulder blade. There was a tool, because I couldn't even rotate my shoulder. And so I was convinced there was something in there, and I cannot tell you, it was excruciating pain. Same with my hip. So by this time when I had my surgery, I had started my period. So we were able to, instead of going through the front and taking my rib, they were able to take bone out of my hip in the back. So I do have a lovely ginormous scar on that one. That one actually, my seam, I like to call it, in my back it's great. You can really, unless you're really looking for it, you can't see it. But my hip I think it's pretty gruesome. But anyhow, so they were able to take that, infuse it. But when we would have a storm, kind of like people with arthritis, I could feel that in my bones, in my hip. My hip would kill me. So we're going to the hospital, I feel constantly. I feel it was an almost every other month thing of this horrible shoulder pain. And so they would do x-rays, and they were there's nothing there. And so I lived with that for years. So I was not diagnosed with celiac until I guess I was 35. So I'm telling you, that's how long I was living with these pains. And then as I got older, my periods were just excruciating. I would be in bed. My periods lasted a really long time, 2 weeks, sometimes 3 weeks. I was in so much pain. I was violently ill the first 3 days, to the point now I have it is fast forward many years. I have a career, and my boss even knew about it. Even when I was in high school and I would be on my period, I would just be laying in the fetal position. I was in so much pain, and even my teachers would be like, Kelly, are you okay? Because I would be so gray and so white. And so we went to all these doctors, and that was the thing. They started being oh, it's endometriosis, it's this, it's that, it's the other. Down to the point that they were even you're probably not going to be able to have kids. You might want to think about having a surrogate. Just all of these things. it was just like really crazy how everything kind of played out in my life. And so I'm telling you, like, I feel like I was always sick. And even though, I'm relatively healthy, and so I even asked my mom later after I was diagnosed with celiac, and she was like, and I go, why didn't you guys ever do an allergy test, like a food test? She was, Kelly, that's kind of, it's not new, but it's like relatively new. She was like, in the 80s, they didn't do that. Like that, unless like something was like crazy, you were hospitalized. But again, like, was it allergies? Was it this? Was it that? Even, I love beer. We would go out to the bars, when I was in my early 20s, and I, thinking it's allergies because we sat on a lot of patios, I would have these violent sneezing attacks. I mean, they were allergic reactions. I just didn't know that. But even sometimes to the point that I was vomiting because I was so sick. It was beer that did it. It was vodka that did it, which is funny because I drank Absolute. I used to drink vodka tonics, and Absolute is not gluten free. If you need a gluten free vodka, go with Tito's. It is gluten free. But I would just have these violent sneezing fits, and to the point where I was using like those wands and things to like get the sulfites out, thinking that it was that. I mean, I was doing so much research because it was miserable. It was like almost to the point where I was like, I don't even want to drink because of it. And I have a very social family. We go to brunch after church, and we have mimosas and cocktails and just enjoy each other's company. And I didn't want to be odd man out, not partaking in the fun and all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, I just had like just these pains, and nobody could explain it to me. And I really just thought, it was just part of the surgery. It was just, and people, oh, that was the other thing. People kept saying, oh, it's like nerve damage, from the rods and things like that. And I was just like, it did not add up to me. So anyhow, those are kind of some of the leading factors of everything. And tomorrow I'll kind of get into more of the miscarriages and all of that stuff. But go get on Pinterest. If you're having something that doesn't feel right. And my mom used to always say this to me because she was 32 and she was diagnosed with breast cancer, and everyone kept saying, you don't have breast cancer, you're too young. But she kept telling me, she was like, Kelly, you're the only one that knows your body. You know what feels right. You know what doesn't feel right. And you got to stay on top of it. So, this is, I'm just telling you, get on. Pinterest has a ton of great infographics. In fact, I will post some on my blog under this video, just so you can see, because it's very interesting how it affects your body. And it is a big thing, like, to kind of cut, because wheat is in everything. I mean, barley, the whole 9 yards. It's in so much of our food. But in the grand scheme of things, it's something so small to cut out of your daily routine, to cut out of your daily diet. So anyhow, I am excited to kind of be sharing this with you and sharing my journey. And what I always say, this is why I have my blog. I'm here to just kind of not necessarily be a resource, but just kind of shedding some light on some stuff. I feel like I tried everything, and what worked and what didn't work, and all of that kind of stuff. So anyhow, I hope you are having a fantastic Monday, and I look forward to talking to you tomorrow on Tuesday, and we'll get into some lady stuff, and kind of how the gluten affected me on that one. So anyhow, have a great afternoon, and I will talk to you soon.